Well, hello, my friends. I'm so excited to be here with Teresa Martison. She's the executive director of Share Omaha. Just stepped into this position right after Thanksgiving. Teresa, first of all, it's so great to see you, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here today. Thanks, Andy.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about you and kind of what brought you to this position. But before we go there, let's just talk about Share Omaha when it launched and kind of the overall like the mission of the organization.
Right. The mission was to find this place to make it possible for the community. It's like an online gathering place, right? That local philanthropists and foundations wanted to create for the Omaha metro area. So that gathering place is set up for volunteer needs, places to give, shopping for good, wish lists, and then also for events. So that nonprofits could be part of this community meeting place, but they don't pay a dime for it, but they get to post all that information that the giving public and volunteering public can access.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about you again. Like I said, you found yourself in this position, and I know that they were searching, far and wide for someone when Marjorie Moss took a bigger role in the organization, and here you find yourself as the executive director. And uh, talk to me about your involvement in the community and why you wanted to do this, which I'm so happy that you are doing this. I'll say that.
Oh, I am too. So why the last 10, 11 years of the position before Share Omaha was doing community outreach and volunteering in the community and running a volunteer program for the company I worked for, an employee donation match program. So when I started that and then Share Omaha, I found out about Share Omaha, and I would always said, okay, where is that one place where, okay, I need to find volunteer opportunities. I need to find places to give. I need to find events. Where's that one place? And then Share Omaha was formed, and I found out that, Marjorie had, been there from the very start. And it was like, this place exists. So I've always kind of had my eyes on hopefully somehow helping Share Omaha in some way. And I did do that, did some volunteering. And, obviously, I accessed the platform for volunteer opportunities and just working with Marjorie for things we could do for the community and for our company, and kind of harness all that energy that our employees had to give. And then, so when this became available and learning that Marjorie was going national with Share Good,
Yep.
for the hub to support Share Omaha and other cities in the United States, I thought this is amazing. And so we've got Marjorie at the national level, and I'm here now. It's something I've always had my eye on because I knew we could keep shifting philanthropy and just doing bigger impact in the Omaha metro area.
Yep.
And that's always been fueling what I had been doing at the company I was at. And so now to get to do it full focus and kind of be real radical about, how we can impact the metro area and just take it to the next level.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. And I'm so, so excited.
Okay. Well, first of all, again, I'm so glad you're here. And this is a big job, and this is a big role, because our community, just for me being, doing what I've been doing for over 30 years, there's so much here, and it takes, almost, it takes a village. It takes, having information being accessed by people and what they can do and how they can be involved. So let's talk a little bit about 2023. So looking ahead, I know one of the big things that for the last couple years was Giving Tuesday, right? The Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Some things happening in the spring, but I'm just gonna let you talk about 2023 and what are you most excited about, and kind of seeing what the future is.
So
Yeah.
you bet. So the future in the next year, here's what 2023 looks like. We've got, to date, we have more than 740 nonprofit organizations that use the platform, as I said, that, share all this information. And so what's going to happen in 2023 is we're going to take that to the next level. We're going to make it even more streamlined and simpler for folks to search for causes they care about. You want to know right away, who it helps, what are the causes I can search, what is the geographical area. So to streamline that even more and make it even simpler for nonprofits. One thing, an example of that is, okay, what about, I mentioned, companies that offer paid volunteer time. So let's streamline that connection real simply. If employees are looking for ways to volunteer where you are, we learned from the pandemic, right? Oh, we couldn't volunteer in person for the most part, but we sure learned different ways to volunteer in the metro area, right? So we're going to continue that in 2023. What are those opportunities to volunteer from where you are? For example, I can't leave my desk, or maybe I can't leave my building at work, but I could sure, go online and do some proofreading for a nonprofit. Maybe I'm a web designer. Okay, I could go to Share Omaha and find out what companies just need a couple 4 hours of website maintenance a month. That's volunteering. Volunteering is philanthropy, and it's kind of harnessing that thinking that it's not just treasure; it's time and talent. Skills-based volunteering. What are if someone can knit? Okay, babies need hats in the NICU, the American Heart Association. How can we find ways to harness, someone that has a hobby that could, harness that into volunteering. So that's what it looks like. We're also in 2023, I mentioned the 740, it's actually 741 nonprofit organizations. And they're in, Saunders, Washington, Dodge, Sarpy, Douglas County. We've got nonprofits in those counties, but how can we help them even more? How can we help, get real specific about volunteer needs and making sure they're positioned to focus on their mission and their critical outreach rather than always looking for volunteers. That's where we come in, is how can we help you? If you're Wahoo or Fremont or, Valley, Plattsmouth, Bellevue, more focus in North and South Omaha. And it's just really maximizing what we can do for the nonprofits and pull that energy from the community that has the time and talent and companies for that matter, that time, talent, and treasure. How can we harness that and just help our nonprofits? And there's more nonprofits, learning about each of the needs. There's so many stories to tell. So that's something you're also going to see in 2023 is, what are some of those things and needs we've never heard about? Or there's a nonprofit that's really fulfilling a niche that's so necessary. So how can Share Omaha in our platform, get that lift for nonprofits in 2023 and, in the future? So that's kind of how this, we're kind of in transition mode, but it's like, okay, what now? How can we be smarter and just make it so simple to volunteer, to give, to, extend your talent for something transformational and really simple to find. It's sort and filter, and there's something customizable for me. I could do that, So that's what 2023 looks like.
Yeah. Well, we're almost out of time. But that was so great. That was so much information that is so important that we know about, because a lot of times, we Share Omaha, first of all, been involved with them since the get-go, but doing so much for so many. And also, I mean, one of the questions you actually answered was, who do you serve? What are the communities you serve? Because they're, living in Omaha, Douglas County, there are communities outside that I can be looking at. Because again, it is, what am I, I'm kind of, I love animals. I have an adoption, I have adoption story there. There are things that I want to support. out in our community, out in the world, and just knowing what some of these organizations are and then how we can help. And it's not always money. I mean, it like you said, it's not always money. Money's good, but
Sure.
people
Right.
contribute other ways.
You
Yeah.
bet. And you nailed it. Animals, health, mental health, animals, children, seniors, military. There's all those causes and so many ways. So that's
Yeah.
right. It's sort and filter by all of those categories.
Yep. Um, Well, Teresa, I just want to thank you so much for joining me today. We will be having lots of conversations throughout 2023 to talk about Share Omaha and what's happening and how people can get involved. And I just am really, first of all, congratulations again to this position. It's going to be so great to work with you and everybody at Share Omaha. And we're just excited. Yeah. 2023.
Yep, that's right. Thank you, Andy. It's gonna be a good year. I appreciate the time with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And folks, we will be right back. Well, hello, my friends. I am so excited to be sitting here with Joy Bartling. She is the executive director of Scattered Joy Acres. Joy, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to elaborate more about where Scattered Joy Acres has been up to.
And you're not just the executive director. I mean, this is your baby, so to speak.
Yep, we've actually just turned over 16 years that we,
Oh my
16 years
goodness.
ago, we started this ministry. Yes.
Well,
in an abandoned, condemned home in North Omaha.
that's a great jumping off spot. So let's talk about that. Let's go back 16 years. And why did you decide? I mean, what made you realize that this was really important?
So Scattered Joy Acres was kind of birthed from my childhood. Animals have always been instrumental to me. Kind of the in between, trust and not trusting humans. And I would always lay in the necks of the big old Holstein cows, and they loved me unconditionally. So 16 years ago, I was able to start this ministry rescuing animals to help rescue people. And today we use those animals to serve and do therapy with seniors, veterans, at-risk youth, and disadvantaged individuals. And so it comes from, a lot of people who have the passion for what they do. It's because of what the things that they've been through in their life, and they can be able to help others just as well.
Because yeah, the mission and the purpose, I mean, it's so, to me, it's so big, not in the, not that I'm saying like big, like it's too big to accomplish, because what you're doing is amazing, but it incorporates so many different people. And then you put the animals in play, that interaction is beautiful. So okay, I've got some talking points here. So we're going to go through those. So give me your best example of the ways you've seen your organization's work make a difference.
The best examples, we'll take, for example, we had a young gentleman who came to us it was on his birthday, and he wanted to learn how to volunteer at Scattered Joy Acres. He was autistic. He kind of hid behind his mom and didn't want to, interact with people. And 2 years later, that same individual that used to hide behind people is now giving tours to individuals that come to the ranch and telling people about the animals. So those animals and the environment were able to help him become confident in himself to be able to be himself. And that's what a lot of the animals do. As well as, we can go to the other spectrum of, when people are at the end of life, and we've had a goat lay on the bed of an individual who actually had no family members. And her last wish was, to see a goat and hold a goat. And actually the goat helped her pass on because she had that comfort to be able to go. So It's from, you know, infants to elderly. We're able to help with those spectrums across.
Wow. That brings tears to my eyes. That's just a beautiful story. Okay, so let's talk about your most successful program.
Our most successful program is our Be Somebody program, which is a character education program. It's built off of attitude, integrity, grit, and purpose. Those are the footstools that, you know, the legs on the footstool that help any individual move on in life. So it is huge in our youth program, where we are working with the youth development. We seem to have a lot of youth right now that are lost. I think when they weren't able to, you know, everybody wants to blame COVID, and it's not COVID's fault. But youth didn't have a purpose, and they didn't have any direction. And this program is, it goes back to the code of the West. It's grit. We're learning about what grit is and what work ethics, and a handshake means your word and honor.
Yeah.
And if you can give these youth the basics of, you know, trusting them and finding their things inside of them that make them tick, they become very productive adults in our world that we live in right now.
Yeah. I totally agree. How I'm going to ask you, because we've got some more talking points, but for this program in particular, how can people contribute to that?
So you can help by, you know, sponsoring a youth for our program.
Okay.
There's several, you know, youth that are either court ordered or that are ordered to come and be part of our program, that there isn't always funding that comes with them. But it's kind of like people who send money to the ACPCA, you know, to adopt a dog, or people who, you know, pick a child for hunger or something like that. You're making an investment in a child that you may or may not know, but just to know that we're giving them an opportunity to change, and change is huge in their life. So being a sponsorship, but then we're also looking for people to come alongside of them and be mentors or to the mentees, because they don't have these figures in their life and they really need it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. Because as we get on with the conversation, wanting just to know how people can contribute back. So, all right. So what are areas of opportunity for your organization?
For our organization, there's always opportunities at the ranch. We have lots of volunteer opportunities, as well as, you know, every organization needs some fundraising or things like that. But we have positions like a ranch hand, where you get to help out at the ranch with the animals. We have hospitality, where you're a greeter and help those people when they come to learn more about the ranch. We also have our mobile exhibits that go out. We have education events. And of course, this time of year at Christmas time, we are booked very heavy with live nativity and reindeer events, where you can just come and help set up and see the smiles that are made when people actually get to see a real reindeer. They're like, oh, they are real, you know, or they get to see the camel and see the real story that unfolds as, you know, churches and organizations play out the Christmas story. So there's lots of opportunities, which then opens up the door to share those stories, like I just shared with you, of how these animals are impacting individuals and our community.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right. So next question, is there anything that you wish more people knew about your organization or the issues that you're trying to solve?
I think our world and our community tries to close the door and not see what's actually going on around them. I remember back in the day, a lot of people sat on their front porches and they communicated with their neighbors. You rarely see anybody on the front porch anymore.
Yeah.
Our community needs to get more involved in your neighborhoods and know what's going on. Not only just the youth that we work with, but there's seniors, there's veterans, there's just people who have life changes that just may need someone just to come by and say, hey, I'm thinking about you today. Yeah. So we do that a lot at Scattered Joy Acres. You know, we serve the whole community. With our move, it allows us to extend our services to other areas. And so just open up your eyes and see what's going on in your neighborhood. You may not be able to fix it, but you can call us or the other nonprofits that are out there. We all have resources that are able to help these individuals.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the move, because that was something that was this was a pretty big move. And I was watching on Facebook really as it unfolded over, like we just talked about before we hit record, the 2 days, that, I know there was more to it than just the 2 days. When you're you were posting about moving the animals, and it was a beautiful thing to watch, but it was also very real, and knowing that, this animals, scary is not the word, but I know there was a lot involved to it. So let's talk
There
about
was a lot.
and
There was a lot. So the whole move was kind of Habitat for Humanity acquired property next to us about a year ago, and they had, came and spoke to me and said, would you be interested in selling your property? And I'm like, are you crazy? I have to move a whole zoo. That just doesn't happen, like a 3-bedroom house. Okay. And I know that's a huge feat by itself.
Right.
And so there was a couple conversations back and forth over the last year. And then it was like, okay, I'm going to give you an amount that I would settle for to make this possibly happen. And it all just happened so quickly. Like, they came in with the amount, the property that we found went on the market the next day.
Wow.
We put out that we were going to be moved by spring of 2023, only because there was infrastructure things that needed to be built that contractors said we can't be there till like January. And so they were able to come in October, and God just orchestrated it all out in his time. And when God moves, you just move with him, because he's already got it figured out. And it went really smoothly. We had a great team of volunteers and people in the community that supported us and helped pack boxes and helped load trailers. And, we had 7 or 8 trailers of people that came and helped move the animals. They all moved in one load, and animals that normally don't like to get in the trailer, they just walked in the trailer like they knew they were going to a better home. So
wow,
it was amazing. And the property just, it serves our mission statement. It's a place of rescue and a journey to peace. And it's going to be a lot more adaptable for people who may have some motor skill issues or something, because it's all flat. Our other terrain was kind of hilly. So this is going to serve a lot more people to be able to come out and get love at Scattered Joy Acres.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the animals. How many do you have, and kind of who are they?
So we probably have about 65 animals here now. They range from your normal farm animals, goats, sheep, alpacas, horses, ponies. And then we have the same license as any national zoo. So we are allowed to have exotic animals. So we have kangaroos, wallabies, porcupines, tortoises, quadrumundés. And these are all animals that you get to interact with. Yeah. You go into our kangaroo pen, and Olivia, she loves you and wants to give you kisses and hugs. And, those are things that people don't get to experience. And they're like, I got to be kissed by a kangaroo today,
Yeah.
Where people sometimes, are not so nice to us, but animals love us no matter what, because they're non-judgmental.
And how do these animals find you?
So some of the animals are life situations. People go through a divorce, they can't have their animals anymore, or they're moving and they can't take them with them, which I find very hard. I would find a place to move where I can take my animals, right? I just moved the whole zoo, right? Yeah,
I would
they all
totally,
go with
I would
me.
totally do that, but
I understand life happens, right? We also work with government entities, sheriff's seizing, things like that. So those animals come in that way. And then the exotic animals actually come from breeders who have the license to breed these exotic animals.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and again, they're all there, that animals give such joy, and I mean scatter joy, and healing to those that sometimes humans just we're not, we can't give to others. It's easier to receive from animals, let me put it that way.
It is.
A lot of
It
times
is.
it's easier to receive from an animal than it is from a human, because you
Yep.
don't always trust the human. The animals are there, and they're non, like you said,
They're non-judgmental.
non-judgmental
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I always think, you know, we have traditional therapy. I understand that, but humans hurt humans. And then you want me to go in an office with no windows and talk to a human,
Yeah.
you know? So even if we can intervene with an animal in those situations, we have, and it's allowed the therapist to be able to open up avenues within that individual, because animals are, they help. They do.
Yep.
Definitely help.
They do, and they know what they're doing. I just believe they know that they're for this person that's in front of them, and they are.
I
Yeah.
always tell people God made humans, or I'm sorry, God created animals first because he knew that we needed them.
Yeah. All right, I'm with you on that one. So, well, as we wrap up this conversation, let's just talk about how people can contribute to the organization. And then a little bit, I mean, because we're here 2023, looking at the year ahead. I know you have some events, so let's just I'll just kind of let you go from there, and kind of wrap it up with how people can help first, and then we'll talk about a couple of the events.
You bet. So anybody can help in Scatter Joy Acres. Of course, everybody asks for funding because it does take funding to be able to run an operation. But it's more so getting the word out, you know, sharing with people about our programs, because there are people that are looking for the type of programs that we offer. And everyone's like, well, I don't know about that. I didn't know that worked. You know, we have two major programs, our Be Somebody program and our EGALA program, which are both animal oriented. They're part of our team. They're the team that helps us do our therapy. As well as if you're looking for a place just to come and hang out, you know, we do corporate events, we do birthday parties, we have all kinds of area now where we can do events. We're going to have music in the valleys coming up. We're going to have movie nights. So watch for those type of things. And then, of course, we have our Let Love Lead Barn Bash that will be on October 5th, which will be our big fundraiser for the year, which will help our programming. So just keep an eye out. Scatter Joy Acres never keeps anybody bored by following on social media.
And I can attest to that because I follow you, and there's always so much activity and just lots of fun things to see, and lots of learning things too. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's wonderful. Okay, Joy, thank you so much for
You're welcome. Thank you.
Congratulations. And
all right.
Yeah, and thank you for starting. Thank you for taking what you knew needed to be in the world and create it. So, all right.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Andy.
You're welcome.